so much, guys. I really appreciate all the support that the channel has been getting lately. We are growing quickly, and I am so appreciative of that. Thank you. There is one thing, though, that I need your help with, and that's what's known as watch hours. I'm currently very low on watch hours, and the next major goal for this channel is to increase that amount quite a bit. Now, for all my subscribers out there, if you guys could take 1 hour, just 1 hour out of your week to watch content on this channel, be it a video that you haven't watched yet, or maybe there's a video that you didn't quite finish, if you could watch just 1 hour of content on the channel, I would hit my watch hour goal within a week. All right, guys, I'd really appreciate the help. Okay, on to the video.
What's up, guys? Dynamic Phil here. It is a beautiful wintry afternoon in southern New England. Now, you might be asking yourselves, what is this fool doing outside on a cold, frigid day? Well, I asked myself that question too, and the only thing that I could say is, this is what the internet told me. So, today I'm coming at you with a little review of the Sigma FP. This tiny little pocket-sized cinema camera. It literally fits in your pocket. Sports a 6K full-frame backside illuminated CMOS sensor in a 3x2 format. It shoots internal Cinema DNG RAW. It is tiny. I mean, look at this thing. Now, you might be wondering why I haven't mentioned this camera before. I've had it for about a year now, and I haven't really brought it out before. I haven't actually used it in any of my videos, and in my own work, I've just used it a handful of times. So being that it's a new year, a fresh start, I thought I would ask myself this question. Does the Sigma FP make sense in 2024? Now, I must say that the design of the Sigma FP, it is very sleek, very industrial. You got to give it to Sigma. They have some amazing industrial designers. It feels so good. I did get this little nicey rig side grip because the camera did not come with one before. It gives you a whole bunch of mounting points, and I find that it is really necessary to hold this camera without worrying about dropping it and having a nice secure grip. Alright, we are back in the studio now where it's nice and warm and toasty, and let's continue on with this review. In terms of the photo usage, I do have to say it is really quite satisfying. That is one of the things, if not the thing that I love the most about this camera, is just how it handles. It's got nice physical buttons on there, mode switch between stills and video, and everything just really feels nice and solid, and there are enough buttons where you can program most things to a button, so you don't have to do that much menu diving. The menu system, though, in the Sigma FP is quite good overall. It's not the best menu system I've used, but it is one of the better ones. It's pretty intuitive. It has a good amount of features. Some of those we'll touch on. And overall, I'd say Sigma did a good job with the just general navigating around and using this camera, particularly when it comes to shooting photos. Now, one thing for me that is just so important, particularly when it comes to photos, is the color science. And I have to say that there are just a number of camera companies out there that I just feel there's something lacking to their color science. Now, I've used just about every major camera brand: Sony, Canon, Panasonic, Fuji, Sigma, and of all of the different camera brands that I've tested, by far Fuji color science is still the best, hands down. But I do have to say that the Sigma FP, the color science, is kind of a close second. It's definitely the best, other than Fuji, in my opinion, that I've worked with on the photo side. There are some nice filters on here that are not, too abrasive, and they have more of those kind of subtle color shifts that Fuji color science, the film simulations. This camera shoots nice photos and just has really beautiful colors. Now, initially, this camera does not have an EVF, so you're just going to be stuck using the back screen, which is fixed as well. You can see that there are some nice vents. This is really for video, but no flippy screen. Now, you can pick up this EVF attachment. There is a mini HDMI port as well as a little mini USB port that it just fits into, and then you use this wheel to tighten it down. And now we have an EVF. It's a little bit weird that it's off to the side, but I do love that it rotates. You can take photos with it in this kind of a position, or in this kind of a position, which is not something that a number of other mirrorless cameras allow you to do with their EVFs. So kudos to Sigma for coming up with this. The major bummer about this, though, is first of all, it takes up your HDMI port, and as I said, it is a mini HDMI port. More on that later. But when you have the EVF attached, you can't use HDMI, there's no pass-through, and you also can't charge the camera via USB-C. And worst of all, when you want to look through the EVF, it doesn't automatically switch to that view like basically every other mirrorless camera with a built-in EVF does. You put your eye up to it and then automatically you can see through it. In this case, no, that is not going to work. You actually have to switch between either the main LCD screen or the EVF with a switch. Otherwise, it's just going to be blacked out. You can't just put it up to your eye and snap and then take it down and review the photo. You have to, constantly flip that switch every time, which is pretty annoying. And did I mention that it's like $500 or $600? Yikes. Okay, so let's move on to video, because this camera shoots some interesting video. It is one of the very, very few cameras which shoots internal, uncompressed cinema DNG RAW. So what that basically means is, unlike a Blackmagic camera or a Red camera or an ARRI camera, the cinema DNG RAW that the Sigma FP is going to give you, it's actually going to give you an individual image for each frame of video. It's not just going to put it all together into a single video file for you. If you want to shoot the full 12-bit cinema DNG RAW, you can't do that to an SD card. You actually need to use an external SSD drive. Speed to record the full 12-bit uncompressed RAW. Now, when it comes to resolutions and frame rates, the Sigma FP is pretty limited. It maxes out at 4K, even though it's got a 6K sensor, and the highest frame rate is only 30 frames per second. If you drop down to 1080p, you can shoot up to 120 frames per second. So you are really limited with your recording capabilities. Other than the Cinema DNG, the only other internal option for this camera is 8-bit MOV. Yikes. It's not bad per se, but if you're using one of the kind of built-in color looks or tone curves, that information is going to be baked into the 8-bit MOV footage, whereas with the Cinema DNG RAW, you're going to have a flat starting point that you can tweak to your heart's content when grading that footage in post. It's really, really flexible, and you can really push it. So you've got either really, really high quality and obscenely large file sized Cinema DNG RAW, or semi-decent but much lower file size and lower quality 8-bit MOV recording. However, there is a third option, Blackmagic Video Assist. You gotta make sure that you get the 12G model. You can actually shoot Blackmagic RAW externally to an SSD drive using the Video Assist. And it's actually the only way to get a 4K DCI recording capabilities. If you use the, even in the internal Cinema DNG, it maxes out at UHD 4K, not 4K DCI, which is really weird. I don't understand, to be honest. That is going to be a worthwhile investment if you don't want to have such insanely large file sizes, but also have the flexibility of shooting RAW. All right, so right here, I wanted to illustrate what it would be like to vlog with this camera, which honestly I do not recommend. If you could see me right now, you would see how ridiculous I look. Because the thing is, because this camera does not have a flip out screen, you have to use a secondary monitor in order to vlog with it. And honestly, I'm not really using a wider lens to illustrate this properly, but if you had a wider lens and the lens had stabilization built into that, then combined with the electronic image stabilization, maybe you could vlog with this camera. For monitoring or external recording, it only has a micro HDMI port, so not even a full-size HDMI port. And HDMI ports are not the most secure, and a micro HDMI port is even less secure. So yeah, don't vlog with this camera, guys. So what could Sigma do to improve the video capabilities of this camera? Well, I don't think they would need to do that much. It's a great sensor. If they could just squeeze a bit more out of it, I think that would be fantastic. Give us 4K at 60 frames per second. Let us use the full 6K sensor, even if the frame rate could only be 24 or 30 frames per second. Doing that would allow the camera to work really well with a number of anamorphic lenses. And also, I really would love a flip out screen. It would make the camera so much more functional for vlogging and filming oneself. But if we can't get the flip out screen, then at least the ability to tether or shoot wirelessly with this camera to, say, a smartphone. Because of the small size of this camera, it would be really nice to just be able to mount a smartphone on top of it as a secondary monitor and use that, keep it lightweight. Sigma, please, if you're watching this, make a couple of those small little upgrades, and I would gladly pick up the latest and greatest Sigma FP. Back to the original question, is the Sigma FP worth it in 2024? Who is this camera really for? We're not really in that point of time anymore where we can export to 1080p HD and just be able to crop in on 4K footage, and that's enough. Having 4K as the upper limit with this camera is kind of tough to work with and makes it a little bit tricky for me to recommend this camera if you are shooting video. And again, you also probably need the Blackmagic Video Assist recorder if you want to get the most out of the raw shooting capabilities of this camera. When it comes to video, is going to be good for somebody who is just starting off and getting into it and also wants a nice photo camera. Now, I would say that the Sigma FP is actually a pretty solid competitor to the Fuji X100v. This is the YouTube Gen Z hipster, dream camera that everybody loves, the little kind of pocket size, point and shoot X100v. I do have to say that camera is a lot of fun. It's very satisfying. It's a fixed lens camera, but because of the popularity of that camera, the price of it usually goes for upwards of $2,000. Yikes. It has become such a popular camera. It sells for way over MSRP. And the thing is, you can pick up the Sigma FP for like around $1,200 used. I got this for under $1,500. You've got a full frame sensor. It's a very compact body, kind of a similar body and a bit of a similar feel to using the Fuji X100v. It doesn't come with the lens, but you can get a small 35mm lens, and then you've basically got the full frame equivalent of an X100v for pretty much the same price. Hope you enjoyed a little review of the Sigma FP, a funky, odd little camera that I'm not sure makes much sense in 2024, but at the same time, why not?